Hello everybody out there in Facebook world, TikTok land, YouTube, anywhere these clips are going to go viral and live for you. Welcome to the show. My name is Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions. Yes, you can see I'm decked out today. What day is today? It's draft day. Draft day is happening today. And, we've picked up some good draft picks over the past years. We've also picked up a lot of bust as well. And then there's going to be a lot of you that hate on the Dallas Cowboys just because you hate the Dallas Cowboys no matter what happens. And that's okay. Bring your hate. I don't care. I still love them. They're my team for forever until I die. Yes, I'm getting a drink of water. We'll pull in some draft day stuff right here for you. Like a good old Mr. Micah Parsons rookie card autograph right there. Roy Joe Twilight Bradley Jr. is in the house. I'm showing off my nice little autographed card of Micah Parsons right there. Rookie card. That's about a small amount of card right there. It's actually a pretty expensive card. And then a Luke Schoonmaker rookie card. Turning pro. It is a swatch card right there. It's got a piece of his jersey, one of his game worn jerseys right there. I know it's hard to see with all the glares that are going on. So, what's everybody's take on the draft? You looking forward to it? You hating it? You want more of it. You want more than just a day of it. I'm going to show you some gladiators and things of the past. Like Mr. Witten. Mr. Jason Witten. Yeah, I got this card for $1.50. But it's an awesome little card of Mr. Jason Witten. Another one that didn't win a Super Bowl under the Dallas Cowboys. Dalton Schultz, his rookie card with the Dallas Cowboys. Again, didn't win a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be a while before we go back to the Super Bowl. I'm not one of the delusional fans. And, that says, oh, this is our year. Because, any year could be our year. It's just like how Washington nearly made it to the Super Bowl, Guess who that is? Mr. Randy Gregory. Right there. Mr. Randy Gregory. Then we got Dak Prescott, Dominator. Nice little holographic card right there of Dak Prescott. And then another Jason Witten. Got him for 50 cents. Showing his stats. Yeah, the price tags are still on these. I haven't taken them out and done anything like that. Trayvon Diggs, rookie card. One of our best cornerbacks. Pickups right there. Leighton Vander Esch, the Wolf. He was a great player. He had to leave too soon just because of injuries. Thank you for all of the chilies there, Mr. Roy Joe Bradley Jr. Chancey Golston. I don't think he's with us anymore. This is his rookie card as well. And then we got Sini Fehoko, rookie card. Don't know if he's going to be with us in our wide receiver room or not. Another Leighton Vander Esch. Right there. Another Leighton legacy card. But today is draft day. It happens around 6 or 7 o'clock tonight, I think. I don't know. Randy White, NFC Pro Bowl from Topps. This one was from 19. I gotta put my eyeballs don't want to work this morning so far. What year are you? I don't know. Well, it's up there. That's why I can't find. 1984. 1984 Randy White card. Still practically mint condition. And then Zach Martin, who retired, unfortunately, this year. Another one who did not win a Super Bowl. And thank you for saying that I look good in the gear. It's fun to don the gear. And then we've got Jake Ferguson, our current tight end prospect right now. Right there. And then a bunch of other crappy players that I don't even know why they include them in these packs of cards. Sorry to your team, but to me, there is no other team out there. I have no other alliance. I have no other love for any other team out there. I can respect the players that are on some teams, but I don't recognize any other team out there other than the Dallas Cowboys. So, that's where my delusion is. I don't see any other. There's only one team in the NFL. Where did I get my hat at? I'm trying to remember where we got this hat at. It was either. Oh lordy, I'm trying to think where we did get it. This one isn't from Lids because Lids cost way too much. It might have been when we were in Texas, down at or down. Well, we were in San Antonio too, but might have been when we were in Texas for one of the conventions down there, or when we went to the Dallas Cowboy game and just walking around Arlington. I cannot remember exactly where I got this hat, but it was. I'm pretty sure it was in Texas. It's one of my newest hats, by the way, and it's still a couple years old. Dang it, Parsons! Well, you went all the way down. Luckily, you're in a hard case. I'll get you later. All right. So, welcome to the show, everybody. I am Monty, your host here at 412 Productions. We talk today. We'll be talking NFL draft. We'll be talking comic books. We'll be talking artwork. We'll be talking commissions. We'll be talking a little bit of everything, where we usually do. But as you can see, today is more geared towards. I gotta make sure my green light is still on because my other one is charging up. Is geared towards. Oh, let me put my little moniker up over here so that it is recording with us. There we go. All right. So, what's everybody's take on the NFL draft? What do you think about the NFL in general? That should be the biggest question. What is your take on the NFL in general? I know a lot of people hate it. I know a lot of people don't even like to watch it anymore. I've gotten to the point where the NFL is kind of in my opinion, um, just because of all the rule changes that they do. Yes, I know it's to protect the players and things like that, but come on, when you're basically doing powder puff football or flag football out on the field, it's just like, is this even football anymore? You know, and I know a lot of people still love it. A lot of people still follow it. A lot of people still pay those astronomical amounts of ticket prices just to see their team go, on into the playoffs and the Super Bowl and all that stuff. Um, so I think the cheapest tickets to this last Super Bowl um, was $780. I think that was the cheapest ticket. Normally, when your tickets are like um, $29 to get into the game, even for the nosebleed section. Those seats are, $780 is your cheapest ticket to the Super Bowl. Come on now. We got some priorities wrong, in my opinion. And yes, Mr. Roy Joe Twilight Bradley Jr. still best thing out there, and he loves it. It's awesome. But that's the parts that I don't like is that you barely touch the quarterback and it's a 15-yard penalty right off the bat. You know, those are some of the most asinine things in the world when it comes to football. Because let's just go back to early 2000s. The end of '99 or end of the '90s and early 2000s when you could still hit the quarterback. You know, and they wouldn't call a flag unless it was like a super late hit or you had a complete face mask. None of this pinky touching the face mask and oop, there's a 15-yard penalty. And then some of the other rule changes that they keep doing. I mean, again, I know it's to protect the players, and which is all fine and dandy, but these guys get paid millions of bucks to play the game, you know, and most of them have no loyalty except for the money. Even though they say they love the game, they love the sport, but if they don't get the right contract, oh, I'm going to another team because I'm going to get the money I want over here. You know, there is no loyalty in football anymore. So it's just who can ever pay me the most, and it's a sad state of affairs with it all. And it's just like in college. College is becoming the same way with the NIL. You know, if you can get me a fatter contract over here, then by all means, I'm going to come over here to your school because why would I want to stick it around over here? If they're only going to pay me this much, down at this end, and I can get, you know, 2 million more over at this school. And that's where some schools are building, great programs because they are getting those 5-star players and they're going over to those colleges just for the money. They're not doing it for a loyalty to the school. They're doing it for the loyalty of money. And unfortunately that's today's society is that loyalty to money is more than loyalty to a program, a college, a school, a person, those type things. And and that's in every aspect. It's not just in college. It's not just in um, NFL. It's not in your NBA or your MLB or your hockey leagues and things like that. Because money speaks volumes everywhere you go. Just like the job you want. Well, is your job paying you enough? And if it's not, and this job is going to pay you more, you start looking at the other job. You know, and is art works the same way. You get what you pay for. Do you want a stick figure of a horse or do you want something more realistic? You know, because a stick figure of a horse right now can cost you $25. Now, if you want the realistic horse, it's going to cost you about 500. Painted, or do you want it hand drawn? Painting is hand drawing, but those type things. You know, so $25 or $500. Which one do you want? Which one do you want to hang on your wall? If it wasn't your child's drawing. So, that's what it boils down to. And me, I give a discount to all military personnel, and I do it for law enforcement as well. And and I still get people that gripe about the prices, but yet they'll go spend you know $400 or $500 on a TV set that they've already got 10 of in their house. You know, it's just like, well, you've got your loyalties in the wrong place, I guess. I don't know. Excuse me. But with your team, whatever team you have out there, that's not the Dallas Cowboys, obviously. Who has been your greatest draft pick? Who has been your most disappointing draft pick out there? You can let me know in the comment section down here below. And you on Facebook and YouTube can just let me know once these videos air. Because I know a lot of people aren't even watching on Facebook right now. They watch it after the fact, whenever it airs later, whenever I post it to all of my social media walls, including the little clips that I add to Instagram to get you invited over. We've got Gen X rocker. He's like, I'm expecting um, for the Carolina Panthers to make another stupid move tonight, and we all have those feelings with our teams, just like the Dallas Cowboys. Um, Last year wasn't a horrible draft class for us, fortunately, um, but we have had some bonehead moves when it comes to draft picks. Uh, Greatest draft pick for our Cowboys was Emmitt Smith. Okay, I can see that one. I mean, I think Micah Parsons, all in all, was one of the greatest draft picks we've ever had. Yeah, it's going to cost us some money in the long run, but to keep him there in Dallas, basically indefinitely, let's get the contract done and go. Um, but yeah, through the years, Emmett Smith, Michael Irvin, the triplets, uh, Troy Aikman, those were great draft picks all the way around. 89, 90, you know, I'm trying to think when Irvin was in. Was he in at 89 too, or was he in at 88? I don't remember. But yeah, see Troy Aikman as right down here, Gen X rocker. Yep, yep, yeah. He held the team together. I mean, Emmitt Smith, like I said, was a great running back. Won't be touched in this era, to for his record. Um, but that was a great triplets back in the '90s. You know, and win Super Bowls back to back, and then you off a year and then win another one. And then we don't win another one ever. So it is what it is. I mean, we love our team, but we hate them too. Just because Jerry Jones can't seem to take a step back and you know let somebody else general manage the team. Um, well, yeah, they helped us a lot because we played them the most in Super Bowls. I mean, even the 52-17 trouncing we put on them, you know, in that era. Um, One of the greatest Super Bowls ever, you know. So, um, but yeah, we played the Bills a lot, and then I see where the Bills have made their comeback and still can't go to the Super Bowl or still win a Super Bowl, those type things, you know. But now we are the longest drought to make a NFC Championship game in our NFC area. Yeah, I mean, if you're a true fan, you're not going to jump ship. And I've never jumped ship since I've started watching the Cowboys when I was 5 or 6 years old. You know, in 1976, I was 5 years old and I was watching the Cowboys, and that was the where the love came from. You know, walking by a TV and it was on. The Cowboys happened to be playing, and I fell in love with the team as a 5 year old toddler. And I haven't looked back since. Um, and No, I don't know all the history or the drama of the Dallas Cowboys, but I could find it for you pretty quick. I've got many a books on my bookshelf in the library and things like that. And it's just one thing or another with the Cowboys. I mean, you either love them or you hate them. I was a Redskins fan until NC got the Panthers. I got you. I got you. I understand that. Um, I mean, I liked it whenever the leagues, were or did have, the five teams in your conference, because the Cardinals was one of ours, and then they redid with adding on the expansion teams, and they're still talking about adding a few more expansion teams, uh, which I don't know how that would actually work now because you'd have to add like 6 expansion teams or more just to make it work. Um, because every league, right, every conference right now has 4 teams in each conference. think. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that's right. So you would have to add a bunch more expansion teams, you know. And then they're talking about all these expansion teams that are going to be coming from other countries like Germany and France and different countries over there, uh, starting NFL franchises in those countries, so that all of these international games um, are deemed necessary. All the games that we play overseas right now, in Germany, in Mexico, in France, or wherever it's at. Yes, the international thing. Um, Hold on, let's see that comment. If it does that, I think it will kill the sport staking or starting. Yeah, no, I get that. And we need a pro team in our backyard here in Arkansas. Well, that's probably not going to happen, Mr. Roy Joe Bradley Jr., because, and I'll just tell you why that's probably not going to happen. Because you've got everything in Kansas City, you got everything over in Tennessee, you got everything down in Texas. You've got two football teams in Texas, but there's only one real football team in Texas. And then you've got Louisiana, so they're not going to put one in Arkansas. It's just a given fact. I mean, you got Colorado, uh, just in that general vicinity, and that's why they don't throw one in Arkansas. Is because the pro football is saturated around the area. So yes, we're going to get a pro soccer team here, just like some other states have already got pro soccer teams, and we're not going to get a basketball team here in Arkansas. Let's just get it real. So the only pro that you're going to get is soccer here in Arkansas. And I don't even know if they're going to actually do it, but they've talked about putting that here. So, and it's only because the teams around the state. It's just like Oklahoma will not get a pro football team. They've got a pro basketball team, but they will not get a pro football team. And it's sad that all states can't have a football team in it, because that would be kind of cool. I mean, what California has two teams as well. Is that right? And then teams that keep getting teams back from their other regions, you know. Because I'm from Oklahoma, I will always bring up Oklahoma. And the Thunder are doing really, really well in the playoff. I mean, they are trouncing them Grizzlies like nothing, nobody's business. They are just wiping the floor with them, wiping the court with them. The two games, the two biggest blowouts I've ever seen. Other than in a playoff game, whenever I think it was either the Panthers or the Jaguars beat Miami Dolphins like nothing, like they weren't even on the field in a playoff game once. I know, buddy. I know you know. I know you know where I was born. I was born in Oklahoma with the buffalo and the teepees. Yes, I am Indian, so I can, make fun of my own heritage. I am Cherokee, but it cannot be proven because my great great grandfather didn't want to be labeled as cattle, so he did not sign. So they labeled them as Black Dutch and moved them to a different area. So Black Dutch is part of the Cherokee Nation tribe. So there you go. But yeah, no, it's just one of those things that if every state could get a pro team, that would be cool. I mean, that would be pretty cool to see that happen in every state, um, because then, judging from where you were born, would you be a follower of that team at that point in time? Say Arkansas did get a team. I know Roy Joe, you would jump ship from the Dallas Cowboys to that new Arkansas team, because it's in Arkansas. Me, I would be torn. Would I have an allegiance to Oklahoma because I was born in Oklahoma, knowing that the Dallas Cowboys are my only team to root for? And I probably wouldn't because, what's their name going to be? The Oklahoma Buffalo? We already have the Bills. So the Buffalo Bills, or would we be the Oklahoma Stagecoaches, or something like that? I mean, what would Arkansas be? Because you've already got the Razorbacks for the college. Um, I guess they could be the Arkansas Rolling Hills, or because most people don't even consider the mountains here mountains. So, no, I wouldn't. I would stay loyal to our boys, and see that's where a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people say that, and I know you probably would be. I'm not saying you wouldn't be. I'm just saying a lot of people say that, but once they do get a team in their area, like whenever Louisiana moved their team over to Oklahoma as the Hornets back in the day because of Katrina, everybody became a Oklahoma City Hornets fan. You know, Natural State Hogs would be their name. I don't know if that would go over very well. Welcome to Arkansas, where you can see the Natural State Hogs. Yeah, see that doesn't ring. Um, and everybody became a Oklahoma City, Louisiana uh, Hornets fan. And then the Hornets sold their rights back to, was it North Carolina? I can't remember which state it has it. But now, they are now the Pelicans. Um, and Oklahoma City got their own team by buying Seattle Supersonics and turning them into Oklahoma City Thunder. And now they're on a thunderous roll right now, going towards the big dance in there. And or natural killers. Why don't you just put born in there? Natural born killers. Uh, like this little guy. He's our natural born killer. Dun, dun, dun. Who doesn't speak in any of his films. He just his little horn. He little toots his horn. He toots his own horn. So, but no, I mean the draft is one of those areas that you can get too super excited, super hyped for, and then you're let down because your team does not pick who you are expecting them to pick, or they don't do something to get who you expect them to pick, because the gaps your team needs. And once it boils down to it, it's just like, well, that player was on the board whenever you picked. Why didn't you grab them up, knowing that you needed that fill? That player that could be the next explosive player, that could be the next Emmett Smith, that could be the next Deion Sanders, that could be the next you know Barry. I mean, the list goes on and on of players that you wish that your team would have picked. And it boils down to sometimes your teams do not make the right move. Just like, you know, Gen X Rocker there. Um, he was saying his team was probably going to make a bonehead move tonight and pick somebody that they don't need. Um, and we all feel that way because at some point in time, after you get your top prospects that you're looking at, or somebody else has grabbed them off the board, and you're like, okay, we've got to go to our next pick, and then that person comes off the board. Okay, now we got to go to our alternative picks, and then if those start leaving before your pick hits, and there's some great players, and there's going to be a lot of great players in this draft, and that's the sad thing about it. There's going to be some great players still out there that are going to become undrafted free agents. Let's just go that route. And so you're looking at the board and you're looking at all these players dropping off the board, knowing that those would have been great fillers for your team. But then all of a sudden, you've got to go to this alternative backup, or this alternative backup. I mean, the first round, there's so many great players out there. I mean, this draft class has quarterbacks, has running backs, has wide receivers, has tight ends, has offensive linemen, has defensive linemen, has cornerbacks, uh, safeties, linebackers. I mean, you name it. This draft class is stacked this year. Now, that being said, they're only predicting like 3 quarterbacks to be called in the first round. You know, now if that happens, we'll see. Ward, Sanders, and I can't remember the other quarterback's name right off the top of my head. I'm sorry. Because I don't have any extra boards running around here showing me all the draft prospects and things like that, like you see a lot of people do whenever they're talking about different things. I want to get multiple screens over here so that I can have this up or this up, and be doing other things while I'm doing my live as well, like you see a lot of other people doing. But I don't have that set up, so you get to listen to me off the top of my head. The running back class: Gentney, Hudson, I think that's his name. There's another one. See, there's 3, and I can only remember 2 of the 3, and I could be butchering one of them's name right now. And it's like, if we don't get who the Dallas Cowboys are projected to get, which is Jetney, but other people are projecting him to go to Vegas, as a Raider, before we get him, unless we move down the board and grab him up, he's not going to be there. So we're going to have to go to our second choice. And will that be a wide receiver in the first pick at number 12, or whatever we trade for, or is that going to be a running back? You know, Either or. I'm not sure which way they're going to go yet. Um, and we need both positions right now. We need some new linemen. We need some new defensive linemen. Now we beefed up our defensive line this off season. Um, so we're going to have a killer class. DeMarcus Lawrence, don't care. Um, he was a great player, but he kept getting injured. I mean, it's just the state of how it goes. And he might do good things over wherever he went to. See, I can't even tell you where he went right now. Now, Roy Joe Bradley Jr. probably can, because we've talked about it. And it's one of those things that, yeah, he was a great player, but for the past 3 years he's been injured. You know, um, we're getting Sam Williams back at some point in time. Sam Williams, another great player, but he's getting injury prone as well. And he's only been in the league X amount of years. Demarion Overshone, or Demar, however you want to say his first name. Great player, but he's already proven he's an injured stock. You know, because he was coming back last year and ended up getting injured again. Because his rookie season, he was basically out due to an injury. And we've got a lot of great players if we can keep them from being injured. That's what it boils down to. Trayvon Diggs injured, so he had to step up with Stephon Gilmore, who was back at the training camp or back at the facility looking for a job. You know, yeah, Jackson Dart. Yep, that's the other one. There's your top 3. Cam Ward, Shadir Sanders, and Jackson Dart are your 3 top NFL prospect quarterbacks. So, you know, um, lots and lots of different things are going to happen for your team, and you just have to roll with the punches sometimes, because you're not going to get the player that you want sometimes. And that's us as Dallas Cowboys fans. We are probably not going to end up with Gentney on our team, which is a sad state of affairs, because he would be an explosive player. But with that being said, the running backs right now that are out there, there are many explosive ones out there. Ohio State's running back is awesome. Um, trying to think. There was another one. I see. I can't think right off the top of my head, and my computer's running slower than pond water right now. Wow, you are running super, super duper slow. You are killing me right now. So yeah, um, it's just you want your team to do well when it comes to the draft, but you also got to realize that it is a decision of your general manager and your coach to be like, hey, this is who we really need. So, and sometimes you realize that they're not going to make the best decision for your team, and then you get let down as fans, and you hate your team for another year. Those type of things, and it's just like, well, crap. Are we going to find some good free agents out there? Are we going to find that diamond in the rough like we did with Tony Romo? With and it's just you just got to wait and see because the draft happens at what time tonight, Mr. Roy Joe Twilight Bradley Jr. What time does that draft happen tonight? I'm just asking, so everybody else knows. Oh, come on, you piece of junk. 7 p.m. is when it happens tonight. 7 p.m. All right. So you got Travis Hunter who wants to play both ways, kind of like Deion Sanders did. Now, if that's going to happen, we don't know yet or not. Abdul Carter, he's an edge rusher out of Penn State, another good player that even Micah Parsons is high on. So we might actually target him. Ashton Jentney, the running back out of Boise State, we all know about his superb play. Mason Graham, a defensive tackle out of Michigan. You got Jalon Walker, Georgia edge out of Georgia. Tyler Warren, another Penn State player, a tight end, so he could go pretty high in the draft. He's massive, they say. You got a Michigan tight end, Colston Loveland. Cam Ward, of course, Miami quarterback, who's probably going to go number one or number two. Armand Membo, Missouri offensive tackle. Jadi Baron, Texas cornerback. Will Campbell, LSU offensive tackle. I've heard some great things about that kid. Jod Campbell, Alabama linebacker. Omarion Hampton, North Carolina running back. I've heard some good things about that kid, and I've heard he's possibly one of the targets for the Dallas Cowboys if we can't get Jetney. Matthew Golden, Texas wide receiver. He's a tremendous playmaker. Nick Emenwari out of South Carolina safety. Will Johnson, Michigan cornerback. Tyler Booker, Alabama uh, inside offensive line. Emeka Egbuka. He is one that is possibly, possibly one of the targets for the Dallas Cowboys as well. He is an Ohio State wide receiver. Titoria McMillan, another wide receiver that is a target for the Dallas Cowboys, potentially. Arizona. I'm just reading a little bit about him. Shadir Sanders. He actually ranks number 20 in the top 150 prospects. So, Colorado quarterback, obviously. He's undersized quarterback with outstanding touch. Mike Green, Marshall, edge. Adam Marshall. Michael Williams, Georgia, edge. Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M, edge. Some of these I've heard of, some of them I have not. Derek Harmon, Oregon, defensive tackle. Malachi Starks, Georgia, safety. Gray Zabel, North Dakota State, inside offensive line. Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas, offensive tackle. Walter Nolan, Mississippi defensive tackle. Heard of that kid. Mason Taylor, LSU tight end. Heard of this kid. There's a lot of prospects that are great, that are coming in because you got a lot of big kids coming in. Donovan Izuruka, Boston College, edge. Kenneth Grant, Michigan defensive tackle. Oh, Travion Henderson was one that was a potential fit for the Dallas Cowboys too. He's a muscled up runner with elite speed and versatility. He is patient to the hole before exploding through with his high knees. He has long speed to destroy pursuit angles once he gets into the open field. So he is one that the Dallas Cowboys are high on too. Travion Henderson, Ohio State running back. James Pierce Jr., Tennessee edge. Maxwell Harrison, Kentucky cornerback. Luther Burden III, I've heard of him, Missouri wide receiver. Jackson Dart, he's actually number 36 in the quarterback on the top 150 chart. He's number 36. Mississippi quarterback. Josh Simmons, Ohio State offensive tackle. Quinshawn Judkins, Ohio State running back. So Ohio State just lost all their running backs. So look for them to be a real big rebuild year. Josh Connerly Jr., Oregon offensive tackle. Carson Schwessinger, UCLA linebacker. Sorry, kid. Donovan Jackson, Ohio State. Trey Amos, Mississippi cornerback. I mean, the list goes on and on. As you see, I'll get to the top 50, and then we'll switch gears. Landon Jackson, Arkansas edge. He's number 43. He actually moved up in the board, so he could be a top prospect, but he'll probably be around 2 if I had to guess. Benjamin Morris, Notre Dame cornerback. Nick Sorton out of Texas A&M edge. Jaden Higgins, Iowa State wide receiver. Jonah Savina, Arizona IOL. Come on, pull it down. Come on, catch up. Darius Alexander, Toledo defensive tackle. And JT Timiloa, Ohio State edge. And then you've got Jalen Noel, Iowa State wide receiver. That's your top 50 prospects of the 150 board. I'm just looking to see where other people rank because I know there's some targeted players out of certain teams that the Dallas Cowboys have been said to look at and are very highly interested in. And so I'm wanting to see where they're ranking here in all of this. And I'm not seeing them right just yet. Yeah, I'm not seeing them anywhere in Danny Stutzman, there he is, linebacker out of Oklahoma. That's another high prospect for the Dallas Cowboys. They are interested in him from what I've read and what I've heard. And Billy Bowman Jr., Oklahoma safety. Two of the hardest hitters in college football right now. Sorry, Roy. I only see one Arkansas player in the top 150. But I've only got two Oklahoma players in the top 150. So yeah, that's it. One Arkansas player in the top 150 and two Oklahoma players in the top 150. Now, that's just one person's opinion. Then you got the ESPN ranking. That was the official NFL ranking for prospects in the 2025 draft. That happens at 7 p.m. tonight. Um, I'm just going back to the top so I can let you know what this is and who wrote it for the top 150 and their opinions. Um, if my computer will ever catch up to me. Daniel Jeremiah's top 150 prospects in the 2025 NFL draft class by Daniel Jeremiah, NFL media and analyst. And then you've got the ESPN side, which is the best remaining players of the ESPN draft. And of course, their potential could be different because see, they've got Abdul Carter as number one and Travis Hunter as number two, which he has them flip flopped, in there. So they're pretty close in what I'm seeing here. And they've got the top 25 on the board, and then you just click forward and go look at the rest of what they've got as well. It's all good. One is better than none. I mean, which is true, but their boards are almost identical as I'm looking at the names that we just read. Um, I'm trying to see. See, they don't even have Shamir Sanders in the top 25 as far as quarterbacks go. But there is Cam Ward right there at number 8 on the ESPN board. So, you know, hopefully, your team does well this draft season. And, you know, um, right now we still are projected to get number 12 pick with the very first pick going to Tennessee Titans. Then you got the Cleveland Browns, New York Giants, the Patriots, Jaguars, the Raiders, the Jets, the Panthers, uh, the Saints, the Bears, 49ers, which I'm kind of surprised they're ahead of us, and then us, and then Miami, the Colts, Falcons, Cardinals. So that is the draft picks right now. Now, what I've been reading is that Dallas is potentially looking at to trade up to get, you know, the players that they want. And, seeing the Giants at number 3, I can see them taking some of our prospects away because they're dicks like that. But, it is what it is. It's the gamble, the roll of the dice that you've got to play whenever you're doing the NFL stuff. Um, just because you're not always going to get who you want. You're not always going to get the player that you think is best for your team, like I was talking about earlier. And that's the sad state of affairs because your general manager knows what your team needs. Jerry Jones, being our general manager, is an idiot sometimes. Okay, and everybody knows it. And he needs to take a step back and hire a true general manager. Stephen Jones doesn't need to be your general manager either. You two just need to own the team, sign the checks, do what needs to be done, and take a step back, hire you a real general manager, put them in place, let them do their thing. Trust the process, Jerry. Trust the process, please. We've all been saying this for years. If Jerry Jones would take a step back, hire a general manager, own the team, Stephen Jones owns the team. You guys sign the checks to all your players, to all your coaches. Pay your coaches, Jerry. Pay your fucking coaches. That's why we don't have um, the Lions offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator right now because they went to other teams for better money, including their secondary staff. You know, that's why we don't. That's why we lost Al Harris. You didn't want to pay him, and now he's over at Tennessee or wherever he went. You know, he should have been your next head coach. Hold on. So, hopefully, Roy, Joe, Twilight, Bradley Jr. kept you entertained while I was gone, but probably not. Yeah, I'm not sure what was going on with with uh, with Dexter, our new pup, but I heard him yelping, so it could have been one of the cats getting on him. Could have been. Well, the piggo was laying down with Phoenix, so it wasn't the pig or Phoenix. So I'm assuming it was a cat. He got too close to one of the cats, and they don't like him yet, so they haven't warmed up to him yet. So, and yes, I totally agree with you, buddy, about Jerry Jones because Jerry Jones, unfortunately, he has been the downfall of the Dallas Cowboys ever since he bought the team. I mean, yeah, we did some good things with Jerry Jones or with Jimmy Johnson, but then he fires Jimmy Johnson. I mean, he fires Tom Landry whenever he moves in. One of the greatest head coaches in the history of football, and he fires Tom Landry, moves in Jimmy Johnson, fires Jimmy Johnson, moves in Switzer, and then we haven't had a consistent coach until Jason Garrett. For 11 years too long. Um, in our program. You know, And then we had Mike McCarthy. I mean, and then we've got, you know, Schottenheimer now, son of legendary coach, Schottenheimer. So we'll see what he does. I mean, he's made some decent moves. I'm not going to say he's made some great moves. He's made some decent moves when it comes to hiring some coaches. Um, but all in all, we haven't had a super great head coach since Jimmy Johnson. I mean, even Tuna couldn't take us to the Super Bowl. Mike McCarthy couldn't take us to the Super Bowl. Now Dan Quinn, could he have been our head coach? Yeah, he could have been our head coach, but he was a better defensive coordinator than he was a coach until he moved over to Washington, and took 10 of the Dallas Cowboys with him. And then they nearly make it to the Super Bowl, you know, on their first year as head coach, and he stole coaches from us too. So, it's just like, if you put the right people in the right place at the right time, you can potentially make it to the Super Bowl, you know. And so hopefully with this whole rebuild that we've done, a whole new mindset yet again. Um, a lot of people are like, well, you're going to be lucky if you win, 8 games in the season. I'm expecting a little more than that, but I'm not going to say we're going to go with an undefeated season, you know, because that's basically unheard of. Kansas City Chiefs fans. Um, even when you do go undefeated, in your seasons, Miami Dolphins fans, you lose the Super Bowl. I mean, it's just how it goes. And thank you, TikTok. Which puzzle are you gonna give me today? Oh yes, great, great, great. Let's get you to a lamp right there. Yay! I've made it. I made the little lamp. Oh, I'm so happy. TikTok, you're stupid. Okay. When it comes to these little puzzles that you want us to fill in as we reach an hour mark, or we're not even at an hour yet. We're at only 45 minutes, and now you're pulling it up. TikTok makes no sense sometimes, folks. I'm sorry, but it doesn't. They restrict you when you say certain keywords, so you've got to come up with stupid keywords to not get restricted. Um, you get uh, bashed if you say specific taglines or key phrases or things like that, to where you can't do a live broadcast for 7 days. Um, but yet we're supposed to have freedom of speech all the way around. You know, people can be out there smashturbating, on the TikTok platform by having two different cameras. You've got your camera that there's looking at them, that you're only seeing like this much of them, and then the other camera is at the angle that other people are watching on another platform. You know, you've got um, how do you say it? I'm trying to think of a proper word for it. Child collectors out there that have a platform right here on TikTok, and they openly talk about it, and yet it's still allowed to go through. But yet you say one keyword about an awareness program or a prevention program, and I'm not going to use the first portion of it, but yet you get banned or restricted because of that speech. And it's just like it makes absolutely no sense, you know, how TikTok's algorithms or AI technology works in here. Because I've had to appeal some stuff, on here myself. Whenever you can clearly watch my broadcast and see that it talks about nothing in the actual market, like you see those people smashturbating out there too. Um, I don't talk about any violence or or I'm probably going to get a restriction on that because I said that word. Schmate he topics. Those two topics get you banned or restricted. Um, and I don't do any of that. I'm talking about comic books. I'm talking about artwork. I'm talking about football. I'm talking about movies. I'm talking about real life stuff. And whenever you're getting restricted, or this cannot be shown to certain audiences, or because we're protecting community speech, or whatever it says whenever it pops up, it's just like, are you guys just retarded? And I'm going to get a restriction for that word, um, because we're not supposed to say that word in today's society. Um, and and TikTok is just makes no sense sometimes, and it drives me nuts. It infuriates me sometimes, just because other people can get away with saying a lot worse than what I just said, and I shouldn't have said that word. I get it, but you know that's how TikTok is sometimes. But the draft is at 7 o'clock tonight, so hopefully your team does well. If you have a team, if you don't, pick one. Roll the dice, pick a team, and just start following this year. Unless you just hate football all in token in general, and then don't watch. So I'm sure there's other things to watch out there that are much more thrilling and enjoyable than watching people talk about, football, and because that's all the draft is. While people are picking, they go off on these little segments that they've had filmed, and listen to them talk for 15, 20 minutes while somebody's trying to pick a player, whenever they know exactly who they want. And why we drag it out, I don't know. It's just like WWE. Here's your script. Go out there and make it look good. Let's talk for 30 minutes before we actually get to a match. That's what the draft has become. Whereas before, people had their picks. They knew exactly who they were going to pick. That person got picked, mark them off, go to the next person. Okay, that person got picked, go to the next person. And generally they have you have your boards. You've got your top quarterback prospects. You've got your top running back prospects. You've got your top wide receiver, tight end. List goes on and on. Offensive lineman, uh, halfback, not just your halfback, your fullbacks. Uh, go down the list. You've got all those on your board. You've got one person that's designated to taking that person off the board if they get picked by somebody else. And everything's now magnetized, or on a computer, or whatever, on a on a tablet, that you get big fines for if you throw it across the football field, apparently. And so as you're watching those draft picks come off your board, well, you obviously have your next pick in line, because you've got your draft picks in order of who you want to pick if that person is no longer there. So why does it take 20 minutes to pick somebody? You know, um, it makes absolutely no sense to me anymore. Why we want to dramatize it so much whenever we can just, hey, here's your pick, let's go. Here's your pick, let's go. Here's your pick, let's go. Let's move it along. It shouldn't take 3 hours to do draft day one. I mean, come on. Did it used to take it back in the 80s and the 90s? No. No, people had their picks within, 3 to 5 minutes, on the board. And now, in all this highfalutin drama and entertainment, it's just like, no, we've got to drag this out for 20 minutes, 25, 30 minutes just to get one pick out for each team. And it's just like, are you serious right now? Are you freaking serious right now? And it makes no sense. Let's just cut the entertainment section out. Get our picks in, because everybody knows who they want. If that person isn't available, they go to their next one. Again, it's tablet. Okay, that person's gone. Let's go to our next running back option. You know, and but everybody wants to be entertained. Are you not entertained? That's what everybody wants. They want entertained. They want to be entertained 24/7. And you know, And the NFL is an entertainment business. WWE is an entertainment business. UFL is an entertainment business. NBA is an entertainment business. MLB entertainment business. Everything is glorified to the extreme. Just like there was somebody showing a picture of a White Sox player and saying that the White Sox were the poor man's league basically because they had to get arm guards from the Colorado Rockies because they didn't have arm guards. So you got the White Sox player getting ready to bat, but yeah, he's got a Colorado Rockies armband on. You know, an arm guard so he doesn't get hit in the arm from a baseball. You know, those type of things. And it's all entertainment purposes only. You know, just like this broadcast, it's entertainment purposes only. You either love it, you hate it, you stayed, or you didn't. You know, right now it's showing that I've got 3 viewers watching me right now. You know, and I'm not seeing any comments come through because apparently Roy Joe Twilight Bradley Jr. has fallen asleep uh, right now, or he's off doing other things. You know, he could be one of those that's doing his own TikTok show too, where he's got that extra camera, if you know what I mean. But no, if your team is going to draft somebody good, you know, let us know later on. You can tell me about it because I'm sure because it goes for 3 days. Today, tomorrow, and Saturday is the draft, and then the 27th is when undrafted free agents hit. And Mr. Roy Joe Twilight Bradley Jr. is still here, which is awesome. So the 27th is whenever they'll be cutting players and then picking up undrafted free agents, just because they have to have a 90-man roster to start the season off. And most of them are at their 90 player cap right now. So that means that some of these players that are in there, you've got your 53 that you know are going to be your solids, 100%. And and then you're going to have to drop X amount to pick up these free agents. Now, um, part of these are going to go to your practice squad. Part of them are going to go to your secondary or third stringers. Those type things. Come the Monday the 28th, you'll see a whole bunch of new players out on the market looking for jobs. Um, and then once preseason hits in August, September, then you're going to see a ton more free agents hit. Now, at that point in time, players are going to be dropped from other uh, teams, and if they looked really good in preseason, other teams are going to pick them up, and it happens every year. So, you have the potential to not even have your 53-man roster set yet. You know, you might have a good idea of who you want on that 53-man roster after the draft, but come preseason, that's whenever it tells you who you're going to keep 100%. Because I think it's what is it? I don't even remember the exact number that you have to have because it's 53-man roster for your regular season. And then you've got your 10 or 12 players for your other side, your practice squad. So I think it's like 73 man. It might be less than that. So you got your 53 man. So you're looking at about 66 players total is what you've got. And so you start with the 90 man roster. And then you start paring that down. You will cut players, but then you'll re-sign them to your practice squad. Is how it works. And then those will get elevated from practice squad to regular when people start getting hurt. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. People do get hurt throughout the year, including some of your key players. And it hurts, of course, because you want those players in there, for the entire season. but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. And then if a key player goes out, and he was like a backbone to your team, then there goes the morale of your team, and you might as well just tank the rest of the season, get the number one draft pick, and move on, for next year. And we see that happen a lot, unfortunately. Um, like Cleveland, they were doing great with Mister Man in there, Baker Mayfield. Then they let him go, and their season tanked. They're I mean they went under. That's why they've got the number 2 draft pick, Tennessee Titans. They had Mariota. He was doing great there, and they let him go. And it's just like they've got the number 1 draft pick now. It, and we probably would have been close to the top 5, had we not won some games in the season, but we did, and so we got the number 12 pick. Now that doesn't mean we're not going to move down on the draft board to like number 5, number 4, somewhere in that range. There's going to be a lot of trades happening this year. I guarantee it. Because people want specific players and they want to make sure that they're going to be there, prior to them picking. So look for a lot of trades to happen tonight at 7 p.m. Because who knows? Dallas could trade to Tennessee and get the number 1 draft pick. Who knows? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but because we would lose too many draft picks at that point in time. We have 10 as it stands right now, and so we are going to trade. I see at least 3 trades happening, which means we could get a 4th round draft pick, which we do not have at this current juncture right now. We've got several in the 6th and 7th rounds, compensatory picks, and just normal picks, and picks we've gotten from other teams for trades and things of that nature. So I'm looking forward to some new things happening, some new trades happening, and some picking up some good players. But I don't know how these players are going to perform. They could be good at college, but then once they get to the NFL, they suck. We see that happen. Taco Charlton, he's now playing in the Canadian Football League, uh, because he couldn't. He was a bust. He made some good tackles in his first couple of years, but then we traded him off, or he went as free agent. I don't remember. And after his rookie contract, and then now he's in the Canadian Football League, and it happens. There's a lot of good talent out there in the UFL and the Canadian Football League as well, and that's where we picked up, Turpin. One of the most electric return man in the game, if you will. I mean, come on, a 98-yard return for a touchdown on a punt. That he muffed. And did that little spin, juked everybody out of their shoes, and 98 yards later, he's in the end zone. You know, so, but you don't always get plays like that. And then Brandon Aubrey, a soccer player, one of the greatest kickers in the league that we still need to sign a long-term contract with, because he's already getting groomed by other team, Tennessee, as a matter of fact. I think is where our special teams coach went, and he is already getting groomed to come over. Come on, come to the dark side. And it's just like, we have cookies. But no, it's all about money. It's all about retaining. It's all about making the right choices. When it comes to contract extensions and things of that nature. So, but that's how it goes, folks. Draft tonight at 7 p.m. Um, Looking forward to seeing who we pick. Hopefully it's the right choice. Hopefully it's a good solid decision. I'm expecting a wide receiver or a running back in the first pick, depending on where we go. Now, if we trade down to somewhere below, like into the top 5, even into the top 3, that means that we're going to pick up who we really want, you know. And don't be surprised, Dallas Cowboy fans, if it's not Ashton Jentney. You heard it here first. But no, I appreciate each and everybody sticking around, being here, listening to the banter of the NFL broadcast for the NFL Draft Day, brought to you by the letter 3 and the Western Digital Corporation and Art the Clown, always there, willing to help you out. But no, none of those people are my sponsors. They need to be. But NFL Draft Day is tonight, 7 p.m. It goes for 3 days, the 25th, the 26th. The Saturday, the 26th, it comes on earlier in the day because you have so many rounds. Um, Day 1 today, 7 p.m. will go until about 11 o'clock tonight. Most likely, I will not be up for all of that because I will see my pick only, and that will be it, which will still come about 12 o'clock or so, because it's basically, the first 10 players picked, it will be a full hour on those players, I guaranteed. And then the next day you got 2 rounds, and then you finish out Saturday with the remaining rounds. 7 rounds in the draft, so you do the math. You just took 3 off the board for first day, that's 1. Second day has 2, and then Saturday has the rest, which means there's 4 more rounds to go. So, which I don't know. I mean, they could do 3 on Friday. I don't remember. 100%, I do not remember how many they do on each day, except for draft day 1, they only do 1 round, and then they split the rest, which would mean that if they did that, then there would be 3 and 3. But I think it's actually 2 and 4. So, how they do it. But I appreciate each and everybody being here. I've got to go check on some animals. So, as I like to say, as I leave you with it, to enjoy your day, we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.